Hey there, it's nice to see you here, right now in this quiet little corner of the night. Maybe your day has been long. Maybe your thoughts are still spinning, like tiny planets orbiting the same old worries. But that's all right. You're here now and here. You don't have to do anything, just breathe. Let the air move gently in and out. Let the noise of the day fade away until all that's left is you, floating softly in the dark. Tonight we're not rushing anywhere. We're just drifting, slowly, through the solar system. We'll wander past warm, sunlit worlds and rings made of dust and dreams. We'll pass craters filled with shadow and oceans sleeping beneath layers of ancient ice. No numbers, no lessons, just stories, whispered by the wind of the stars, magnetic storms that dance like ghosts, moons that shimmer with secret light, diamonds raining on distant planets, and rays of sunlight, still traveling across a darkness so deep, it feels endless. Each orbit holds its own kind of magic, and tonight we'll move through them, slowly, gently, one sleepy breath at a time. So if these quiet travels bring you peace, or help you drift a little easier into dreams, you can softly press like or subscribe, so that maybe one more tired soul can find their way here too. Now, close your eyes, let go of the weight of the day, and come drift with me. Out there, among the stars, close your eyes, and imagine drifting through the quiet dark of space. Out there, far beyond the warmth of the sun, a blue world spins, cold, distant, and alive with wind. Neptune. Though it lies at the edge of the solar system, it holds the fastest winds we've ever known. 2,000 kilometers an hour, strong enough to outrun sound itself, 5 times faster than the jet planes that hum above our skies. No one truly knows why the winds are so fierce. Perhaps it's the planet's hidden heat, still rising from deep within, a quiet reminder that even in the coldest places, something still burns. Neptune's air is made of hydrogen, helium, and methane, and through those icy gases, massive storms twist and fade, painting ghostly swirls on a pale blue canvas. A frozen world, but always in motion now. Let's drift onward, past the asteroid belt, to a land of red dust and silence. Mars. Across its middle runs a scar, a canyon so vast it stretches more than 4,000 kilometers. As wide as the United States. In places it falls 7 kilometers deep, 5 times deeper than our Grand Canyon. Valles Marineris, a wound in stone, born from ancient tension, as the Martian crust stretched and broke apart. There were no rivers to carve it, no oceans to fill it, just time and pressure, and a planet learning how to change. And then, we move closer to the sun, to a world that looks like Earth's twin but is anything but home. Venus, same size, same mass, yet utterly different. Venus has no magnetic field, no invisible shield to guard it from the solar wind. Here on Earth, our molten core stirs and spins, forging a magnetic heart that keeps our skies safe. But on Venus, that heart is still. The sky burns thick with acid clouds and the ground glows hot enough to melt metal. Still, it shines, wrapped in light, turning slowly beneath the sun. So tonight, as you drift deeper into the quiet, imagine these distant worlds, each one spinning, each one alive in its own way. Neptune's rushing winds, Mars' silent canyon, Venus's golden fire, all part of a vast sleeping system, turning endlessly through the dark, and you, floating softly among them. Weightless, calm, and ready to dream, out there, wrapped in gold clouds and silence, turns Venus. A planet once thought to be Earth's twin, the same size, the same weight, the same glow in the sky. But somewhere deep inside, its heart slowed down. Maybe it stopped, a core too still to stir the energy that gives a world its shield. Without that magnetic heartbeat, Venus lies bare beneath the sun. Solar winds sweep through its sky, a constant storm of particles stripping away the lightest gases, leaving behind only heat and silence. They say Venus might once have been like Earth, with oceans, clouds, and the possibility of rain. But now, it is a furnace world, a ghost of what could have been, and beyond Venus, far past the cold, dark edges of the solar system, 2 distant giants wait, Uranus and Neptune blue, silent and strange. There, deep within their endless clouds, the air grows heavy with pressure. Methane breaks apart, Carbon falls like ash through sapphire storms until it hardens into diamond. Tiny crystals of light tumbling through darkness, falling endlessly toward the heart of the planet. Scientists have seen it happen, in miniature, inside labs on Earth. A glimpse of storms made not of thunder and rain, but glittering jewels falling through eternal blue. And then, there is Earth, our world, so alive it never truly rests. Beneath our feet, plates of stone drift and collide, carving mountains, shaping oceans, breathing life into the land. This motion, this quiet rhythm beneath everything, is what keeps our planet living. Without it, Earth might be still, like Venus, or silent like Mars. Instead, it moves, it shifts, it dreams. So tonight, as you drift toward sleep, picture them, these worlds, each turning in its own way. Venus, glowing softly in her golden haze. Uranus and Neptune, where diamonds fall like rain. And Earth, our restless living home, spinning gently through the dark. Let them drift across your thoughts like constellations in your dreams. And as the night deepens, let go, the universe will keep spinning, and you can rest beneath our feet. The Earth is never truly still. Hidden under oceans and continents, a vast mosaic of crustal plates floats upon the mantle below, slowly drifting, colliding and reshaping the face of the planet. This silent motion is what we call plate tectonics. It's a dance that builds mountains, carves valleys, and releases the deep rumble of earthquakes. It breathes carbon in and out of the atmosphere, recycling it over millions of years, a slow rhythm that helps keep the planet's climate steady across the ages. So far, no other world has revealed such a living heartbeat. Mars and Venus show cracks, volcanoes, and ancient scars. But compared to Earth, they seem still, as if frozen mid-motion, their once active surfaces long gone quiet. Perhaps it is this quiet movement beneath us, this deep, unseen pulse, that makes Earth so uniquely alive, a planet that stabilizes itself, keeps its oceans flowing, and allows continents to drift and dream over the span of eons. And far from our living world, out in the dark between planets, wander the asteroids. We often imagine them alone, cold, solitary travelers drifting through empty space. But some of them are not alone at all. A few carry tiny companions, moons of their own, small stones caught by gravity's pull, or born beside their parent rock in the early days of the solar system. The first we ever saw was Dactyl, a pebble-sized moon orbiting the asteroid Ida, discovered by the Galileo spacecraft in 1993. Imagine that, a moon around an asteroid, a miniature world with a world of its own. It reminds us that even in the vast silence, the universe is full of companionship. Tiny dances of gravity, whispered orbits in the dark, each one telling a story of motion and time and quiet connection. So as you close your eyes tonight, picture them all, the shifting plates beneath you, and the small moons drifting through the void. Everything moves, everything turns, even in stillness. The cosmos never truly sleeps since that first discovery. Astronomers have found dozens more moons circling asteroids. Some of them even have two. Others are caught in strange, delicate dances. Two asteroids orbiting each other, locked together in gravity's quiet embrace. Tiny worlds, barely large enough to hold a shape, yet still drawn together by the faintest pull of connection. Even out there in the cold and endless dark, gravity finds a way to make companions, to keep things from drifting completely alone. And now, we drift closer to the sun. To Mercury, a small silver world that never truly breathes. Unlike Earth, it has no soft blanket of air, no sky to hold the warmth of day or scatter the light of dawn. Instead, it wears a faint, ghostly veil, an exosphere, a near vacuum where atoms float alone without ever touching each other. Each one, blasted from the surface by the solar wind or by tiny meteors striking its skin. Sodium, potassium, oxygen, flickering in and out of existence. Mercury's gravity is too weak to hold on to them for long, so the atoms escape, drifting into space, while new ones rise to take their place. The result is something beautiful. A shimmering envelope of invisible dust, a whisper of an atmosphere, a ghost that hugs the planet only for a moment before it slips away again. And then, we turn our gaze to the sun, the heart of it all. Every second it burns 4 million tons of itself into light. 4 million tons, gone in an instant. In its core, hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, a dance of fire so powerful, it holds our solar system together. The warmth that touches your skin, the glow that wakes each morning, the energy that stirs the winds of every world, all born from that quiet sacrifice moment by moment. The loss is small, barely a whisper against the sun's immense mass, but across billions of years it adds up, a slow giving of itself to everything around it. One day, when its hydrogen is gone, the sun will begin to change. Its light will soften, its edges will expand, and the solar system will never be the same. But for now, it shines, steady, patient, a golden heart beating in the silence of space. And as you breathe, you can feel it, that light crossing the vast dark, touching you even here. The sun gives, the planets move, the stars wait, and you can rest far away. In the quiet dark beyond Jupiter, there drifts a world wrapped in light, Saturn. From afar, its rings look eternal, delicate bands of silver spinning in perfect grace. But even beauty fades. Those rings are slowly disappearing, pulled by gravity, tugged by Saturn's own magnetic field. They are falling, grain by grain, drop by drop, into the planet they surround. Scientists call it ring rain. Tiny particles of ice and dust drift inward, burning away in the planet's glow. Cassini, the spacecraft that once danced through those rings, told us a secret before it vanished. The rings are young, not eternal at all, maybe less than 100 million years old, and in a few 100 million more, they'll be gone, a shimmer lost to time, a memory of light, a crown that once was. And then our gaze drifts farther inward, to Mars, the red world of dust and wind, a place where the sky can vanish, where storms rise from nothing and grow until they cover an entire planet. For weeks, sometimes months, the sun disappears behind a veil of swirling rust. Fine dust, so light, so endless, floats high in the thin air, turning the world into a hazy, glowing ember. From space, Mars looks calm, but beneath that quiet red hue are oceans of storm and silence, a world forever waiting for its next breath of wind. And as you close your eyes, you can almost see it, rings falling, dust rising, planets turning softly in the endless dark. The universe keeps its rhythm, unhurried, unbroken, and somewhere in that stillness, you drift too. Some storms begin as whispers, small gusts of wind barely enough to stir the dust, but on Mars, even whispers can grow into giants. Through the delicate balance of heat, wind, and the planet's dry terrain, those small gusts can rise, spinning themselves into vast storms that swallow the horizon. In 2018, one such storm spread across the planet, a storm so immense, so relentless, that it ended the mission of the Opportunity rover. Its solar panels, once gleaming beneath the Martian sun, were buried beneath endless dust, and the little rover fell silent. Its final message, a soft farewell from a distant world of red and wind. Even without oceans or rain, Mars is alive in its own way, a restless world that still breathes through its storms. Far beyond Mars, in the cold reach of Jupiter's domain, there is a moon called Europa, a world of ice. But perhaps, not only ice. Beneath its frozen shell, scientists believe an ocean lies hidden, an entire sea, locked away beneath kilometers of ice, kept liquid by the pull and stretch of Jupiter's mighty gravity. That invisible dance warms Europa from within, creating a dark ocean world that has never seen sunlight. Its cracked surface is laced with deep, shadowed lines, marks of shifting ice and movement from below. Spacecraft have sensed magnetic whispers, chemical traces, hints that something stirs beneath. And what makes Europa so hauntingly beautiful is the possibility that in that silent, hidden ocean, where warmth rises from the deep and darkness never ends, life may already be waiting. Tiny sparks, floating in the black, in a sea that has never known a sky. As you drift toward sleep, imagine them, storms on Mars whispering across red dunes, and secret tides moving beneath Europa's ice. The universe never truly rests, it only dreams, and tonight it dreams with you. On Mars there stands a mountain so tall, it pierces the thin red sky, Olympus Mons, the greatest volcano in the solar system. It rises nearly 22 kilometers above the plains, almost 3 times taller than Mount Everest. Its base is so wide that it could cover an entire U.S. state, New Mexico, gone beneath a single mountain for millions of years. Eruption after eruption built it higher and higher. And because Mars has no shifting plates, the volcano stayed rooted in one place, its fires always returning to the same scar in the crust, growing quietly, patiently, until it became a world unto itself. Now, Olympus Mons stands silent, a sleeping giant beneath the thin Martian sky. Its slopes stretch for hundreds of kilometers, so gentle you might not notice you're climbing the largest volcano in the solar system until you've already reached the stars. Farther away, beyond the red deserts of Mars, there is another wonder, a planet of rings and shadow, glowing softly against the dark. Saturn. Its rings span more than 280,000 kilometers, yet they are impossibly thin, less than 100 meters thick, thinner than a city skyline, thinner than the silence between heartbeats, made mostly of water ice. The rings shimmer like frozen dust, each particle spinning in its own delicate orbit, ranging from grains no larger than sand to boulders the size of houses. When sunlight cuts across the ring plane, they almost vanish, a fragile halo, as if Saturn wears a crown of glass, tilted forever toward the night. So as you rest tonight, imagine yourself drifting there, past the red mountain of Mars and through Saturn's silent rings. No sound, no hurry, only the slow eternal rhythm of the solar system breathing. And in that stillness, let your thoughts fade like starlight, and sleep take you home. Saturn's rings, so wide they could stretch across worlds, and yet so thin, so impossibly fragile, that they almost vanish in the light. Their perfect flatness isn't chance. It's the quiet harmony of gravity, the self-organization of billions of icy fragments, and the guiding hands of tiny shepherd moons that sweep the edges clean. From far away, the rings look solid, a single shining band, but up close they are nothing but dust and silence, dancing in slow motion around a planet made of storms. And then there's Earth and our home, small, blue, and dense. Of all the worlds in the solar system, Earth is the heaviest for its size, the densest planet of them all. Its heart is made of molten iron and nickel, wrapped in a shell of stone and water. This weight, this pressure gives rise to something extraordinary, a magnetic field, born from the motion of metal in its fiery core. That invisible shield deflects the solar wind, protecting oceans, forests, and the fragile breath of life. Every mountain, every heartbeat, owes something to the dense heart of our planet, turning endlessly beneath our feet. And above it all, the sun, our star, is not silent either. Though we cannot hear it, it sings. Waves of pressure roll through its blazing layers, like notes played on a vast, glowing instrument. These vibrations travel through plasma and fire, too deep, too slow for human ears to perceive. But scientists have learned to listen, through a science called helioseismology. They read the sun's song like a heartbeat, mapping the rhythm of its hidden interior, a cosmic melody, played in light and heat, keeping time for all the worlds that circle it. So as you drift toward sleep tonight, imagine it, the whisper of Saturn's rings, the quiet strength of Earth's core, and the steady hum of the sun singing across the void. All of it. A lullaby written in gravity and fire. And somewhere within that endless song you rest, small, safe, and part of the music of the universe. Deep within the heart of the sun, there is music, not the kind we can hear, but waves, rippling through fire and light. They travel and bounce within the sun's body, like echoes in a vast glowing cathedral. By following these subtle waves, scientists can see what lies beneath its surface, mapping the sun's hidden layers, just as geologists on Earth use seismic waves to peer inside our own world. These solar songs reveal rivers of plasma, currents of heat and magnetism, and the slow, steady rhythm of fusion burning deep within the core. In a way, the sun is always humming, a soft, endless tune played across the emptiness of space, whispering secrets and vibrations and light. And then there's Venus, the bright star of dawn and dusk, a world wrapped in golden clouds, but moving in a way that defies all others. Unlike most planets, Venus spins backward, a strange, elegant rebellion against the rhythm of the solar system. On Venus, The sun rises in the west and sets in the east, and its days are impossibly long. A single rotation takes 243 Earth days, longer than its entire year. Imagine that, a planet where one sunrise lasts an eternity. Scientists still wonder why. Some think Venus once suffered a massive collision, a violent blow that flipped its spin. Others believe the slow pull of the sun's tides gradually turned it over, one silent moment at a time. Now, Venus drifts through space, turning backward, bathed in perpetual twilight, a mirror world moving to its own slow waltz. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine that quiet dance, the hum of the sun, and the slow golden spin of Venus. Both ancient, both eternal, both part of the cosmic rhythm that never truly stops. It only sings Venus, a lonely world that turns the wrong way. While every other planet spins forward, Venus drifts backward, slowly, silently, against the rhythm of the solar system. A single day there lasts longer than its year. The sun rises in the west and sets in the east. No one knows for sure why. Maybe it was struck long ago, or perhaps time itself simply taught Venus to dance to a different song. Far beyond that golden haze lies Jupiter, the giant among giants. It doesn't stand alone. Around it circle more than 90 moons, each one moving through gravity's vast embrace. The Great Four, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto, were the first worlds ever seen beyond our own. But there are many more. Tiny, irregular, drifting pieces of rock and ice, some spinning backward, some barely larger than mountains. Together, they form a miniature solar system, a storm of moons, dancing forever around their enormous parent. And near the sun, in a world of heat and silence, Mercury hides something unexpected. In craters where sunlight never reaches, where shadows have lasted for eons, there is ice, fragile, gleaming, frozen in the heart of a planet that burns by day and freezes by night. Even there, so close to the sun, cold survives. Light and darkness, fire and frost, the universe always holds both. So as you drift towards sleep, imagine these worlds turning slowly. Venus spinning backward through golden clouds, Jupiter surrounded by its endless moons, and Mercury guarding its frozen light. All of them moving, all of them dreaming, and somewhere among them, you are dreaming too. At the edge of the sun's warmth, there is a small, silent world, Mercury, scorched by day, frozen by night. It seems impossible that ice could survive there, and yet, it does. At Mercury's poles, deep inside craters where sunlight never reaches, the shadows are eternal, so cold, so still that water ice can remain untouched. For millions of years, these dark craters are nature's freezers guarding bright, frozen patches hidden from the sun's fierce. Light-up spacecraft like Messenger have seen the reflections, tiny glimmers of frost, in a place where everything should burn. Scientists think that water may have arrived long ago, carried by comets or born from ancient volcanic breath, and so, in the heart of one of the hottest planets, ice endures, locked in silence, protected by shadow, a secret piece of winter beneath an endless summer sky. Far, far beyond, past the bright planets and the giant rings, lies Pluto, a world of deep cold and quiet mystery. Across its frozen face is a pale, heart-shaped plain, Sputnik Planitia. But that heart may hold more than just frozen beauty. Beneath the ice, scientists believe there could be an ocean, liquid water, sealed away in darkness, kept alive by the faint warmth of Pluto's core. The New Horizons spacecraft found signs of it, subtle patterns, clues in the landscape, suggesting that under the frost and nitrogen snow, something still moves. Imagine that, an ocean, hidden inside a frozen heart circling a distant sun. Even at the edge of the solar system, where light is only a whisper, life's oldest element, water, may still be waiting. As you drift towards sleep tonight, think of these hidden oceans and silent shadows. Ice and fire, warmth and cold, light and darkness. The universe is full of quiet opposites, balanced perfectly, turning softly, like a lullaby for every world. Far beyond the warmth of the sun, past Neptune's cold orbit, lies a lonely world, Pluto. Its frozen plains stretch beneath a sky of endless night. But deep inside that icy heart, there may be something stirring. The weight of the Harathed Basin and the strange patterns seen across its surface suggest a secret beneath, a slushy, convecting ocean, moving slowly under layers of frozen silence. If this hidden sea exists, It may stay liquid thanks to the faint warmth of radioactive decay and the thick ice that traps its heat. Imagine that. Even here, in the frozen frontier beyond Neptune, a quiet ocean may still endure, whispering softly in the dark. Between the red deserts of Mars and the giant storms of Jupiter lies another mysterious place, the asteroid belt. In movies, it's often shown as a chaotic maze, a storm of tumbling rocks and shattered worlds. But the truth is quieter. The belt is mostly empty space, a vast silent sea of dust and stone. Millions of rocky bodies drift there, but they are separated by enormous distances. A spacecraft could pass through and never touch a single one. The entire mass of the asteroid belt is less than 5% of the moon's. Its largest worlds, like Ceres and Vesta, carry most of that weight, while the rest are only fragments, leftovers from the birth of our solar system. Each one a tiny time capsule, floating in the dark, remembering an age when the planets were young. As the stars drift overhead, think of those quiet places. The ocean beneath Pluto's ice, the stillness of the asteroid belt, and the gentle hum of gravity holding it all together. Even in the deepest silence, the universe keeps breathing, softly, endlessly, as if singing a lullaby for every wandering world. Long ago, when the solar system was young, a cloud of dust and stone began to spin, and from it, the planets were born. But not everything found its place. Some pieces remained adrift, ancient building blocks that never formed into a world. They still wander, silent and cold, between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, the remnants of what could have been. Farther out in the icy reaches beyond Saturn, there drifts a strange, tilted world, Uranus. While most planets spin upright, Uranus lies on its side, rolling around the sun like a great pale marble. Its axis is tilted almost 98 degrees, so that for more than 40 years, one pole stares directly into sunlight, while the other lies buried in endless night. When the light finally shifts, the seasons reverse. Another 40 years of darkness becomes day. No one knows for certain what caused this cosmic fall, but perhaps long ago, a massive collision knocked the planet onto its side, leaving it forever rolling through space. A world turned sideways in the great dance of the solar system. And then there is Jupiter, the giant, the king, wrapped in invisible fire. Around it swirls a magnetic field so immense that it could crush and burn through steel. Within those fields lie deadly radiation belts, storms of charged particles trapped and raging, so powerful they would destroy any unprotected spacecraft in hours. These belts are the solar system's invisible infernos, a reminder that beauty and danger often share the same sky. In the stillness of the night, as you close your eyes, imagine these distant worlds turning slowly in the dark, some rolling, some burning, some whispering in silence. Each one moves to its own rhythm, a verse in the great song of the cosmos, a song that never ends, only softens, as the stars keep watch. Deep in the shadow of Jupiter, its largest moons drift through invisible storms. The radiation that surrounds the giant planet is fierce, enough to scar their icy surfaces, enough to whisper danger into any dream of life. Spacecraft that venture near must move carefully, hiding behind layers of metal and calculation, slipping through corridors of low radiation, just to survive another orbit. It's a magnificent realm, but one wrapped in unseen fire. And at the very center of all things, at the heart of our solar system, burns the sun. It doesn't just shine, it dominates. Over 99.8% of all the mass in our solar system belongs to that single star. Every planet, every moon, every drifting pebble of dust, all together, barely make up the remaining fraction of a percent. Its gravity binds them all, from the tiny shards of the asteroid belt to the frozen wanderers of the Oort cloud. Within its heart, hydrogen becomes helium, and in that alchemy, light is born. That light crosses the void, warming worlds, sculpting shadows, and reminding us that every sunrise is the echo of a star's burning heart. And far beyond the planets we know, past Neptune's lonely orbit, lie others, smaller, stranger, cold round worlds we call dwarf planets. There are more of them than all the classical planets combined. They drift in silence, tiny monarchs of icy kingdoms, circling the sun in patient isolation. Each one a reminder that the solar system is vaster than we imagine, filled with worlds still waiting for the warmth of a name. Far beyond Neptune, where sunlight fades into blue darkness, the solar system continues, quietly, endlessly. Out there drift the dwarf planets, small frozen worlds, ancient and untouched. Pluto may be the one we know best, but it's not alone. Aries, Haumea, Make. Each circles the sun at the edge of everything we call home. They move slowly through the cold, their surfaces coated in ice and starlight, their stories older than time itself. These worlds may be small, but they carry the memory of how our solar system began. The dust, the chaos, the spark of creation. They are the quiet ones, the dreamers of the dark, and closer in, wrapped in clouds the color of ivory and gold, there waits Venus. It is a strange and patient world. On Venus, a single day lasts longer than its year. 243 Earth days to turn once, and only 225 to circle the sun. If you stood there, the sky would never rush past you. The light would linger. The shadows would move like slow breath. Imagine a sunrise that takes months to return, a place where time drifts like mist, where the world turns so slowly, it almost seems. Still, Venus doesn't hurry. It moves in silence, like a dream suspended in space. A reminder that even in the endless clockwork of the cosmos, some things choose their own rhythm. Venus. A planet that turns so slowly its days stretch longer than its years. That sluggish spin shapes everything, its heat, its storms, its strange, endless twilight. The air there is thick and heavy, a veil of acid clouds pressing down with a weight strong enough to crush steel. On the surface, temperatures rise so high they could melt lead. The sun barely pierces the haze, turning the sky into a dull, amber glow. It is a place where time moves slowly, where the day never truly begins, and never quite ends. And then, farther from the sun, beyond Saturn's golden rings, there is Titan, a world wrapped in a thick, orange haze, and the only other place we know with liquid lakes on its surface. But they are not lakes of water. On Titan, the rivers flow with liquid methane and ethane, cold and alien, moving across frozen plains under a distant, dim sun. Rain falls there too, not of water but of methane, drifting softly through the thick air to fill vast, dark lakes that stretch for hundreds of kilometers. And beneath that icy crust, scientists believe there may still be a hidden ocean of liquid water, warm, deep and ancient. Titan feels eerily familiar, with rivers, clouds and coasts, but every drop, every breath belongs to a chemistry not of our world, a mirror of Earth, shaped by cold and silence, a dream of what home might look like in another corner of the universe high above the red deserts of Mars. Two tiny moons drift through the dark, Phobos and Deimos, small, misshapen, their surfaces scarred by ancient impacts. They don't look like the round, graceful moons we imagine, but more like wandering asteroids, caught by Mars's gravity long ago. Scientists believe they may once have drifted through the asteroid belt, until the red planet's pull drew them close and never let them go. Phobos, the larger of the two, is slowly falling inward, its orbit tightening, its fate already written. One day it will break apart, its remains forming a faint ring around Mars, or rain down upon the planet it circled for eons. Deimos, the smaller one, moves the other way, drifting gently outward, a quiet traveler slipping farther into space. Two tiny companions, bound by gravity, forever tracing their slow, silent dance through the Martian night. And far beyond, deep in the kingdom of gas and storms, Jupiter glows. Unlike most worlds, Jupiter shines not only with sunlight, but with its own heat. It still carries the warmth of its birth, the lingering fire from when it first took shape in the swirling dust of the early solar system. Even now, its immense mass slowly contracts, releasing energy from within, as though the planet itself is still alive, still breathing. If you could drift close enough, you'd see its clouds glowing faintly with a light that comes from below. A soft, golden pulse. A reminder that even in the cold darkness of space, some worlds keep their own quiet fire burning. Jupiter, the great giant of our solar system, still glows with the warmth of its own creation. That inner heat breathes life into its clouds, driving the vast storms that twist and spiral through its golden atmosphere. The Great Red Spot, a storm larger than Earth itself, has raged for centuries, fueled by that hidden fire within. In the infrared, Jupiter shines brightly, like a slow-burning coal beneath its cloud tops. It's not a star, but it almost was. If it had been just a little more massive, gravity might have pushed it past the threshold, igniting fusion deep in its heart. Then Jupiter would have become a second sun. And our sky, our world, would have been forever different. Instead, it remains what it is now, a world of storms and light, a failed star still glowing gently in the dark. And far beyond, in the cold reaches of the solar system, another world waits. Neptune. Unlike any planet before it, Neptune was not discovered by sight, but by thought. In the 1840s, astronomers studying Uranus noticed something strange, tiny wobbles in its orbit, as if an invisible hand were tugging at it from the darkness. Two mathematicians, working independently, followed the trail of numbers, tracing those faint irregularities to a hidden world beyond. When a telescope was finally turned toward their calculated point in the sky, there it was, a small blue disk shining softly through the void. Neptune, a planet found not through glass, but through the quiet certainty of mathematics, a world revealed by logic, and touched first by the human mind before the human eye. At the crown of Saturn, where twilight never truly ends, a storm turns, but not in circles. Instead, it spins in the shape of a hexagon, 6 perfect sides of wind, carved into the clouds, rotating endlessly at the planet's north pole, 30,000 kilometers across, wider than the Earth itself. And yet, it has remained steady for decades, perhaps centuries. Scientists believe it's born from Saturn's rotating layers of air, dancing to different speeds, forming waves that lock into geometry. In laboratories on Earth, rotating fluids create the same ghostly hexagons, as if Saturn's secret can briefly appear in a dish of swirling light. But up there, it's more than science. It's poetry made of storms, a shape written into the clouds by physics and time. Amnen chuyen dan, an sang man hun, tieng plasma, tieng joma troi vutkwa. And then, there's the sun, the beating heart of the solar system. It seems natural to think that its surface would be the hottest part, but the universe rarely follows intuition. The sun's visible face and the photosphere burns at about 5,500 degrees Celsius. But high above it, the outer atmosphere, the corona, soars to over 1,000,000 degrees, a mystery that has burned in the minds of scientists for decades. Some say waves of magnetism rise from deep within, pouring unseen energy upward, heating the corona from below. Others point to tiny, constant eruptions, nano-flares, little sparks that dance across the sun, each one adding a whisper of heat until the sky itself begins to glow. And so, the sun shines not only with light, but with mystery, a riddle of fire, burning quietly in the heart of everything we know. Either way, the sun's outer layers continue to glow, a shroud of mysterious searing heat, far hotter than the surface that gave it birth. And beyond that glow, past the orbits of the great gas giants, past the icy blue of Neptune, there lies a vast and silent kingdom, the Kuiper Belt, a wide ring of frozen worlds drifting billions of kilometers from the sun. Pluto,
Eris, how may I?
Makemake, and countless others ancient and glimmering in the dark. They are not stars. They are not planets. They are memories, the leftover building blocks from the dawn of the solar system. Some are round and heavy enough to be called dwarf planets. Others are jagged, tumbling endlessly through the dark. The Kuiper Belt is like the asteroid belt, but colder, quieter, more ancient. A fossil ring, a frozen archive of everything that once dreamed of becoming a world. And farther still, beyond even Pluto's lonely orbit, there may be something greater, a ghostly shell of ice that wraps around the entire solar system. They call it the Oort cloud. It's never been seen, yet its presence whispers in the long arcs of returning comets. A sphere of frozen debris, stretching almost a light year from the sun, where sunlight fades into starlight and the solar system's edge melts into the galaxy beyond, far beyond Neptune. Even beyond Pluto's lonely orbit, there may exist a vast, invisible sea of ice. They call it the Oort cloud. It's not a place we can see, but a dreamlike halo that may stretch nearly a light year from the sun. Inside it drift countless frozen wanderers, silent and patient, waiting for something, a passing star, a cosmic whisper, to pull them from their ancient sleep. And when that happens, they awaken as comets, their icy hearts burning, trailing long luminous tails as they fall toward the light. If the Oort cloud is real, it is the true edge of home, the last breath of our sun's gravity before the endless dark beyond. Closer to the warmth of Jupiter, there's another world that never knows peace. A restless moon, it's alive with fire. Volcanoes tear open its surface, flinging molten sulfur and rock into the black sky. The ground there is painted in colors of heat, yellows, reds, and the deep shadows of cooling ash. Screams silently through space, stretched and squeezed by Jupiter's gravity, pulled by the rhythm of nearby moons. Inside, that stress becomes heat, a furnace that never fades, and so it burns. Forever remade, a world of flames circling a planet of storms. Even in the coldest corners of the solar system, the universe reminds us, some hearts never stop burning. Unlike Earth's cooling crust, Io's surface never rests. It's young, volatile, alive. A molten heart beats beneath its scarred skin, reshaping the land again and again, a moon forged in fire, forever burning in the cold. And far beyond, circling the pale blue shadow of Neptune, drifts Triton, a moon that moves against the flow of time. While Neptune spins one way, Triton glides the other, tracing a backward path through the dark. Astronomers believe it was not born here, but captured, stolen from the frozen frontier of the Kuiper Belt. That violent meeting long ago may have torn apart Neptune's first family of moons, leaving Triton alone, moving in defiance. Even now, beneath its frozen crust, icy volcanoes breathe mist into the void. A thin, ghostly atmosphere flickers in and out with the seasons, cold, distant, yet alive in its own quiet rhythm. And then, there's our moon, so close, so familiar, yet still mysterious. Compared to its planet, Earth's moon is enormous, a companion far too large for its host, born perhaps from a collision that once tore the young Earth apart. Since then, it has circled us in silence, pulling the tides, marking the nights, and watching, as life awakened below, a witness to everything. A steady light above a restless world. No other rocky world in the vastness of our solar system has a companion quite like ours. The moon, quiet, patient, and immense, is nearly 1/4 the size of Earth itself. A bond so close it's more fitting for dwarf planets than great terrestrial worlds. Most scientists believe it was born from chaos, a cataclysmic collision, when a Mars-sized body struck the young Earth. From that impact, molten debris rose into orbit, swirling, cooling, and over time, becoming whole. The moon, a relic of destruction and renewal. For billions of years it has shaped our tides, steadied our axis, and kept the rhythm of life itself. It is not just a companion, but a guardian, a cosmic memory of the violence that gave birth to balance. And as Earth turns beneath its watchful light, the planets dance their endless patterns around the sun, not in perfect circles, but in gentle ellipses, paths slightly stretched, each world leaning closer, then drifting farther away. At perihelion, a planet whispers nearest to the sun, bathed in golden fire. At aphelion, it retreats cool and distant, moving through the long twilight of its orbit. For some, like Mercury and Pluto, the difference is vast. Dramatic, a slow heartbeat written in starlight. But for all of them, it is a rhythm and a quiet, ceaseless motion that has carried the solar system through eternity. These subtle variations, the stretching and narrowing of each planet's path, shape the rhythm of the solar system itself. They influence the length of the seasons, the warmth of sunlight, and the speed at which each world sweeps through its orbit. Over 4 centuries ago, a man named Johannes Kepler looked up and saw order in that motion. In the 1600s, his careful observations revealed that the planets move not in perfect circles, but in graceful ellipses, each world tracing an invisible harmony written by gravity. His discovery reshaped our understanding of how the solar system truly breathes. Some comets, however, come from much farther away, from the very edges of interstellar space. The long-period comets, those that return only once every few thousand years, are believed to rise from the Oort cloud, a frozen halo of ancient debris nearly a light-year from the sun. Out there, time moves differently. These icy wanderers drift in silence for billions of years, until a passing star or the faint pull of our galaxy nudges them homeward. As they fall inward, the sun's warmth awakens them. Ice turns to vapor, dust turns to light, and their tails flare across the sky, brief and brilliant, like whispers from the dawn of creation. But even the sun, the great heart of our system, is not eternal. Like all stars, it has a lifespan, a long, luminous story that will one day fade. When its fuel runs low, hydrogen will dwindle and the core will collapse, igniting new layers of fusion in a final fiery bloom. The sun will swell into a red giant, its light soft and swollen, its reach vast enough to engulf the worlds that once orbited safely beyond. And when that final breath of fire is spent, it will shed its outer layers and shrink into a glowing ember. A white dwarf, no larger than Earth, but dense beyond imagining, a silent star still shining. Long after its voice has faded, there will come a time, about 5 billion years from now, when the sun's long story reaches its final chapters. Its heart, once a roaring furnace of hydrogen, will begin to fade. As the fuel runs dry, gravity and fire will wrestle one last time. The sun will swell, vast and crimson, becoming a red giant, its fiery skin stretching outward until it swallows the inner worlds. Mercury will vanish first, then Venus, and perhaps even Earth, lost within the molten breath of its parent star. When the final pulse of fusion ceases, the sun will shed its outer layers, a fragile, glowing veil of gas that drifts into the dark. Astronomers will call it a planetary nebula, a brief, beautiful sigh of color marking the end of a star's life. At the center, what remains is a single white ember, a white dwarf, no longer burning, only glowing softly. Its light will slowly fade over trillions of years, until even that last warmth is swallowed by the quiet of the cosmos. A glowing ember, adrift in eternity, the final heartbeat of our sun, yet not all worlds are gone. Far beyond the sun's reach, Mars continues to turn, painted in rust and silence. Though its air is thin and its touch cold, Mars knows the rhythm of the seasons, just as Earth does. Its axis leans about 25 degrees, almost like our own. And so, as it circles the sun, light falls unevenly across its hemispheres, tilting warmth from one pole to the other. Spring brings dust storms that sweep across the plains. Summer stretches long and dry. Autumn softens the light, and winter lays frost upon the crimson soil. Even on this distant, desolate world, the dance of sunlight and shadow continues, a quiet echo of Earth's familiar rhythm, still turning, still breathing, beneath the endless stars. On Mars, even the passing of a season is written in ice and dust. The planet's polar caps grow and shrink, breathing in rhythm with the thin air. Dust storms sweep across the plains, some small as whispers, others vast enough to shroud the entire world. And as the air warms and cools, pressure shifts ever so slightly, a pulse, faint, but steady, like the heartbeat of a sleeping world. Yet these changes come slowly, for a Martian year lasts nearly twice as long as Earth's. Spring lingers, winter endures, and time itself feels stretched thin beneath that pale, red sky. Far beyond Mars, another world turns in the darkness, Ganymede. The giant among moons, larger even than Mercury. This immense sphere of ice and stone circles Jupiter in solemn silence. Its surface bears the scars of ages, grooved and fractured, etched by the slow violence of time. Beneath its frozen crust, scientists believe an ocean sleeps, layered deep between sheets of ancient ice, a hidden sea beneath a frozen world. And unlike any other moon, Ganymede has its own magnetic field, invisible yet alive, like it dances with Jupiter's storms, casting soft auroras that shimmer faintly in its thin, ghost-like atmosphere. In the shadow of the largest planet, Ganymede drifts, vast, quiet, self-contained, as a world of oceans without waves and light without warmth. Even farther still, at the edge of the sun's faint reach, lies a wanderer with an eccentric path. Pluto, the little world that sometimes strays closer to the sun than Neptune itself. At the farthest edge of the sun's domain, where light begins to thin into shadow, Pluto drifts, a small, icy world dancing to a rhythm written in the stars. Though it is usually the most distant of the known worlds, its orbit is far from perfect. A long, stretched ellipse that sometimes pulls Pluto closer to the sun than Neptune. Between 1979 and 1999, it briefly took Neptune's place, becoming the 8th planet from the sun. And yet, the two worlds never meet. never collide, for they move in resonance, bound by an invisible harmony. For every 3 orbits of Neptune, Pluto completes 2, a gravitational duet that has endured for millions of years. Their paths weave together like an ancient cosmic waltz, a celestial choreography so precise that their worlds can dance forever without ever touching. Even our sun, the heart of this cosmic stage, is not still. Every 11 years it flips its magnetic field. North becomes south. South becomes north, a slow, invisible turning of power and polarity. This reversal stirs the solar winds, awakens storms of charged light, and sends ripples of magnetism through every corner of the solar system. It is the sun's quiet breath, its heartbeat of fire and magnetism, marking time not in days or years, but in cycles of light and change. This great rhythm, the solar magnetic cycle, is the heartbeat of our star. Every 11 years it pulses, its fields twisting and realigning in a vast, invisible ballet of plasma and light. At its peak, the solar maximum, the sun comes alive. Sunspots bloom across its surface, solar flares burst into space, and great coronal ejections hurl streams of charged particles outward, racing across the solar system. Then slowly, the rhythm quiets, the light softens, the storms fade into calm. This is the solar minimum, the low tide in the sun's endless cycle. Yet even in stillness, its magnetic breath continues rippling across the void, touching Earth's upper atmosphere, its satellites, its auroras, painting our night skies with curtains of shifting color. The sun's magnetism is never fixed. It moves and flows, pulses and breathes like a living, radiant being woven from fire and time. And yet for all this cosmic motion, some myths remain. Planetary alignments, those rare moments when worlds appear to line up across the sky, are spectacular to see, but harmless. There is no hidden force, no surge of gravity strong enough to shake the Earth. Compared to the pull of our moon or the warmth of our sun, the tug of distant planets is barely a whisper. Too faint to stir oceans, too small to spark disaster. The universe may move in rhythm, but not in omen. Its music is quiet, patient, and profoundly indifferent. Even during rare alignments when the planets seem to gather in one line, their pull remains a whisper. The moon, small, near, familiar, moves our oceans and bends our tides with more strength than all the giants of the outer system combined. Jupiter, Saturn, vast in scale yet far beyond reach, tug on us so faintly that Earth doesn't even flinch. Their alignments are not omens but geometry, beautiful, precise, and utterly harmless. A silent dance of distant worlds, traced not in prophecy, but in mathematics. And when we finally leave that dance, the journey is long. To escape the sun's pull is to climb out of an ocean made of gravity. The Voyager probes, launched in the 1970s, have been sailing outward for nearly half a century, over 60,000 kilometers every hour, relentlessly pushing toward the stars. They passed the orbits of the planets, glided through the Kuiper Belt, and crossed into the darkness beyond the sun's final breath, the edge of the heliopause, where solar wind gives way to the cold whisper of interstellar space. Out there, in that silence, the Voyagers still speak. Their faint signals take over 20 hours just to reach home. Each carries a golden record, etched with the sounds of Earth, waves, laughter, heartbeats, and music from across our world. A message to whoever may one day listen. They are not just machines. They are our quiet ambassadors, crossing the gulf between stars, carrying the memory of a small blue world that once looked up and dared to say, "We are here." Around our world, an invisible guardian stands watch, Earth's magnetic field. Born deep beneath our feet, in the molten heart of the planet, liquid iron moves and swirls, forging invisible lines of force that stretch far into space. This magnetic cocoon deflects charged particles from the sun, blazing fragments of solar wind that would otherwise strip the air we breathe. Without it, our skies would fade away as Mars's once did, the wind of the stars slowly carving it bare. Yet, not all light is lost. Some of those wandering particles find a path along the magnetic poles, spiraling down through the upper air, colliding with oxygen and nitrogen. And there, they paint the night, green, crimson, violet, shimmering curtains that ripple and whisper across polar skies. The aurora, the visible heartbeat of Earth's invisible shield. And high above, our oldest companion drifts away, Each year the moon moves just a few centimeters farther, a slow, graceful retreat measured in whispers, not steps. It happens because of the tides, oceans rising and falling, pulling gently against the moon, transferring a tiny bit of energy with every wave, every swell. Across billions of years, those small exchanges push the moon outward, lengthening our days and changing the rhythm of the planet. The same tides that shape our shores are slowly rewriting the distance between Earth and Moon. A dance of gravity played out in perfect, endless slow motion. Around our world, an invisible guardian stands watch, Earth's magnetic field. Born deep beneath our feet, in the molten heart of the planet, liquid iron moves and swirls, forging invisible lines of force that stretch far into space. This magnetic cocoon deflects charged particles from the sun, blazing fragments of solar wind that would otherwise strip the air we breathe. Without it, our skies would fade away as Mars's once did, the wind of the stars slowly carving it bare. Yet, not all light is lost. Some of those wandering particles find a path along the magnetic poles, spiraling down through the upper air, colliding with oxygen and nitrogen. And there, they paint the night. Green, crimson, violet, shimmering curtains that ripple and whisper across polar skies. The aurora, the visible heartbeat of Earth's invisible shield, and high above, our oldest companion drifts away. Each year, the moon moves just a few centimeters farther, a slow, graceful retreat measured in whispers, not steps. It happens because of the tides, oceans rising and falling, pulling gently against the moon, transferring a tiny bit of energy with every wave, every swell. Across billions of years, those small exchanges push the moon outward, lengthening our days and changing the rhythm of the planet. The same tides that shape our shores are slowly rewriting the distance between Earth and Moon, a dance of gravity played out in perfect, endless slow motion. Long ago, when the moon hung closer to our world, it filled the night sky, vast, glowing, and impossibly bright. Its pull on Earth's oceans was stronger then, raising tides that thundered across the ancient seas. That same gravitational dance, the push and pull between water and stone, slowly sent the moon drifting outward. Each passing century it retreats by the width of a thumb, each retreat a whisper of change. Because of this, our days grow longer by mere fractions of a second. But given time enough, oceans, tides, and sky will bear the memory of this motion. One distant day, the moon will be too far to fully eclipse the sun. No shadow will fall in totality again. The sky will change, quietly, imperceptibly, as if time itself were breathing. Far beyond Neptune, where sunlight fades into silver dust, lies the Kuiper Belt, a realm of frozen worlds. Here, shards of ancient creation still drift in silence, their surfaces gleaming like mirrors. There is Haumea, spinning so fast that it stretches into a football shape, its body coated in crystalline ice, a world that sparkles like frozen glass. And Eris, a distant queen of ice and reflection, so bright that it outshines new snow. Its frozen skin glints with untouched purity, each ray of sunlight bouncing off its surface into the dark. These worlds are ancient, sculpted by impacts, by frozen volcanism, by chemistry older than Earth itself. Out there at the edge of the sun's domain, light still finds a way to shine, even from the coldest hearts of stone and ice. At the farthest edges of sunlight, where the warmth of the sun fades into silence, a few lonely worlds still shimmer, their icy skins catching the faintest glimmers of gold. They gleam like cold mirrors, reflecting the ghost of daylight in the endless dark. And there, drifting within Saturn's vast domain, is a tiny moon named Enceladus, a frozen pearl that breathes water into space. From the cracks near its south pole, the tiger stripes, jets of vapor and ice crystals erupt with quiet fury, rising hundreds of kilometers high before falling like snow back upon the moon's surface. These geysers are born from heat below, tidal forces tugging, stretching the moon's heart until it warms enough to keep an ocean hidden beneath the ice. In those jets, scientists have found salts, organic molecules, and hints of hydrothermal vents, signs of energy, chemistry, and perhaps the whisper of life. Each eruption sends part of Enceladus outward into Saturn's rings, a shimmering bridge of ice and mist linking moon to planet, a living exchange across the void. Not all wanderers are so whole. Some asteroids, the ancient bones of the solar system, are not solid at all. They are rubble piles, collections of shattered fragments held together only by the faint pull of gravity. Each one is a memory of collision, a mosaic of ruin and dust, drifting endlessly through the dark. Touch them and they might crumble. Watch them, and they reveal how fragile even stone can be in the endless dance of creation and destruction. Not all asteroids are solid stone. Many drift through space as fragile ruins, loose gatherings of rock, gravel, and dust barely clinging together under the faint pull of gravity. They are called rubble piles, the shattered remains of once mighty worlds. Long ago, when asteroids collided and tore each other apart, their fragments wandered for ages, slowly reuniting into these strange hollow forms. Inside them lie vast empty chambers, echoing voids where sunlight never touches. They spin awkwardly, shift under their own weight, and reshape themselves in silence. When missions like Hayabusa 2 and OSIRIS-REx touched these bodies, they found not solid stone, but clouds of dust pretending to be worlds, ancient, delicate, and astonishingly alive in their fragility. These are not monoliths, but drifting ruins, chaotic archives of creation, carrying the memory of when planets were still being born. Each one, a ghost from the dawn of the solar system, barely holding itself together as it circles the sun in eternal quiet. And then, we turn our gaze inward, to Mercury, the smallest of the rocky worlds, yet forged with a heart of iron. Mercury's core is enormous, a sphere of metal so large it fills nearly 80% of the planet's radius. It is as if the world has been stripped to its essence, a bare metallic heart wrapped in a thin shell of stone. Some say a colossal impact once tore away its outer layers, leaving only the heavy core behind. Others believe it formed this way, born close to the sun, where heat burned away lighter elements. Whatever the truth, Mercury endures, a scorched, trembling world of metal. Circling the sun like an ember that refuses to die, Mercury, the smallest planet, yet forged of iron and fire. Its heart is far too large for its fragile shell. Why? No one knows for sure. Some say that long ago a giant impact tore away its outer layers, leaving behind a metallic core, the planet's bare, shining heart. Others believe Mercury was born close to the sun, where only the heaviest elements could survive the furnace of early creation. Whatever the truth, Mercury endures as a relic of chaos, a world of metal and silence, its thin crust trembling over a sea of molten iron. Its magnetic field flickers weakly, a faint echo of what might once have been a stronger living force. Mercury is the survivor of a violent dawn, a scarred witness to the sun's youth. Then there is Venus, the bright evening star glowing softly in our sky, and utterly alone. Among the rocky worlds, only Mercury and Venus have no moons. For Mercury, that makes sense. The sun's fierce gravity would never let a satellite stay. But Venus is different. It's nearly the twin of Earth, the same size, the same weight, yet it circles the sun without a single companion. No moon to pull at its tides, no silent partner to share its endless nights. Some believe Venus once had a moon, born from impact, only to spiral inward again, falling back into the planet it came from. Others whisper that its slow backward spin, a rotation against the direction of its orbit, prevents any moon from ever holding steady, and so Venus drifts through the dark, shrouded in thick clouds and burning air, its days long as its loneliness, its light reaching us only as a reflection, a reminder that even the brightest worlds can wander the heavens, completely alone. Whatever the cause, Venus orbits alone, a bright, cloud-wrapped world with no lunar companion in its twilight sky. But elsewhere, the heavens are anything but lonely. Most of the solar system's moons belong to the giant planets, where gravity reigns like a cosmic monarch. Jupiter and Saturn, titans of gas and storm, each hold dozens of moons in their sway. Some are no bigger than drifting asteroids, while others, like Ganymede and Titan, are worlds in their own right, with mountains, oceans, and hidden atmospheres. Even Uranus and Neptune, cold and distant, gather their own families of icy moons, each one dancing in peculiar tilted or retrograde orbits, their surfaces carved by ancient tides and frozen storms. In these faraway realms, the rule is clear: The farther from the sun you go, the more moons you find. Gravity gathers company in the cold, and the giants keep their companions close like silent courtiers orbiting endless kings. From our own orbit, humanity watches. High above Earth, the Hubble Space Telescope, a metal eye suspended in darkness, has captured glimpses of these distant worlds. It has seen cloud bands twist across Jupiter, blue storms rage on Neptune, and the red dust of Mars shift with the seasons. Though it circles barely above our skies, Hubble reaches across the solar system, a patient witness to the slow heartbeat of the planets. Its lenses have recorded changing storms, evolving rings, and auroras shimmering on alien horizons. Through its gaze, the cosmos becomes not just distant, but alive. A living system of worlds and weather, of motion, light, and time. In the deep cold beyond the sun, where sunlight is faint and blue shadows reign, Neptune drifts, silent, distant, and strangely alive. Though it lies far at the edge of the solar system, this great blue world glows with a secret warmth. It radiates more heat than it receives from the sun, as if something deep within still remembers creation, the restless energy left over from its birth. Beneath those sapphire clouds, currents of gas and ice swirl in ceaseless motion. Winds roar at more than 2,000 kilometers an hour, the fastest known in the solar system, sweeping across a planet colder than any place on Earth. And yet, it burns from the inside, a ghostly fire that no sunlight feeds, a whisper of ancient heat that keeps Neptune's heart from freezing completely. Out there, on the edge of everything we know, Neptune turns slowly through endless night, a lonely beacon of blue, still shining with the warmth of a forgotten dawn. Although it drifts in the farthest reaches of sunlight, Neptune is no frozen, lifeless sphere. Beneath its icy blue clouds, something stirs, a hidden fire that burns from within. The planet radiates 2.6 times more energy than it receives from the sun. This inner warmth fuels furious storms and winds that scream faster than any known in the solar system. The source of this heat remains uncertain, perhaps the fading memory of its birth, perhaps the slow squeeze of gravity or the quiet decay of its core. Whatever the cause, Neptune lives in motion, a world of contradiction, cold on the surface, yet restless and alive at its heart. Its atmosphere forever churns, shaped by invisible energy beneath a sea of blue. Here, closer to home, another kind of miracle unfolds. Earth, the only world where water dances in all three forms. Solid, liquid, and vapor intertwine in an endless rhythm of clouds, rivers, and ice. Oceans breathe into the sky, mountain peaks hold frozen time, and rain returns life to the land. This delicate cycle endures because Earth orbits at just the right distance, not too hot, not too cold, cradled by an atmosphere that keeps balance and warmth. A planet where water flows, freezes and flies, and through it, life itself endures. Other worlds may hold whispers of water, trapped in icy crusts, drifting as vapor in thin skies, or hidden deep beneath frozen shells. But nowhere else does it move, sing, and shimmer the way it does here, on Earth. Only our world lets water flow as rivers, rise as mist, and fall again as rain. An eternal rhythm of birth, loss, and renewal. A planet that breathes through oceans, a heartbeat measured in tides. Far beyond this blue world, the solar wind stretches outward, a ceaseless stream of charged breath from our sun. It pushes and flows until at last, it meets the thin resistance of the interstellar sea, that faint dust and gas between the stars. This invisible frontier is called the heliopause, the final edge of the sun's vast domain, where solar winds falter and the whispers of other stars grow stronger. In 2012, Voyager 1 crossed that threshold, and Voyager 2 followed 6 years later. Both left behind the warmth of our sun's influence, drifting into the cold silence of true interstellar space. Though the sun's gravity still holds them faintly, its voice ends there, at the boundary where light becomes memory, and the end of home fades into the dark. The solar system itself is adrift, a small island of light moving through a cloud of cosmic dust. This region, called the local interstellar cloud, is a thin veil of gas and particles, stretching nearly 30 light-years across. Long ago, ancient supernovae carved this place into being, their shock waves hollowing out a vast local bubble, a glowing scar left in the galactic sea. Now, Our sun drifts through it, its heliosphere like a shielded ship, pushing back against the mist of interstellar matter, sailing at 7,000 kilometers per hour through a fog that never ends. Scientists study this journey to understand how that faint cosmic wind shapes our skies, our radiation, even the delicate balance of climate on Earth. We are not still, not anchored, but sailing silently through the dark. The solar system a lone voyager beneath the stars, and not all that moves is alive. Some moons themselves breathe and change. Io, forever scorched by Jupiter's gravity, erupts with fire, its surface bleeding molten sulfur. Enceladus, the icy moon of Saturn, reaches upward with geysers of water and light, casting plumes into space like whispers from an ocean below. These worlds remind us that even in the coldest shadows, there is still motion, heat, and life's faint echo waiting beneath the ice. Beneath the frozen crusts of Europa and Ganymede, oceans may stir in eternal twilight, kept liquid by the quiet warmth of tidal forces. Salt, rock, and heat intertwine beneath kilometers of ice, forming alien seas where light never reaches. Yet energy and chemistry may still dance. Even Triton, Neptune's distant and captured moon, refuses stillness. Its surface breathes through cryovolcanic vents where ices erupt into space, not from fire, but from pressure and cold. These are not dead worlds, but restless hearts sealed in frost, each one whispering that life's spark might not belong to warmth alone. Farther still drifts Pluto, the wanderer of shadows. Though small and distant, it carries a fragile atmosphere, a breath of nitrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide. When it nears the sun, its frozen plains awaken, and gases rise to form a delicate blue haze that shimmers above the surface. But as Pluto retreats again into darkness, the chill returns. Its sky falls as frost, its air collapses back into ice, and the world slips once more into silence. This cycle of breath and stillness repeats across centuries, a slow heartbeat in the dark, the echo of a world alive only when it remembers the sun. Deep within the heart of our star, the sun, temperatures climb beyond 15 million degrees Celsius. In that blinding core, hydrogen atoms are crushed together under unimaginable pressure, fusing into helium, and in that fusion, light itself is born. This is the engine of existence, a ceaseless storm of fire and gravity, forging the warmth that touches every leaf, every sea, every breath. Yet the light we see today is ancient. It wandered for hundreds of thousands of years through layers of searing plasma, colliding, scattering, waiting, until at last, it broke free, racing through space for just 8 minutes to reach the blue cradle of Earth. From afar, the sun looks serene, but beneath that calm glow lies a roaring furnace, a violent heart that never sleeps. Far beyond, where the sunlight fades and the chill grows sharp, Uranus drifts in its quiet, tilted solitude. It wears a faint crown, 13 dark narrow rings woven from rock and ice. They circle the planet's strange axis, for Uranus lies almost on its side, as if toppled long ago by some cosmic collision. When viewed from above the sun's north pole, its rings stand vertically, like glowing lines etched against the black of space. A silent reminder that even in the coldest reaches of our solar system, there is still structure, still beauty, and still motion, turning slowly beneath the light of a distant, burning star. Some of Uranus's rings are razor-thin, narrow, sharp-edged ribbons of dust and ice, kept in line by tiny shepherd moons, their gravity sculpting each fragile arc. They went unnoticed until 1977, when for a fleeting moment the planet passed before a distant star, and its light blinked. From that faint interruption, an entire hidden system was revealed, shadowy bands circling a sideways world, turning endlessly in the dim light of the sun. Around all of this, around every planet, moon, and comet, stretches an invisible shield, the heliosphere. It is a magnetic bubble, blown outward by the sun's breath, a stream of charged particles. The solar wind. This vast, ever-shifting sphere pushes back against the galaxy itself, deflecting cosmic rays and interstellar dust, shaping the very boundary of our home in space. Its skin, the heliopause, is where the sun's power fades and the pressure of other stars begins. Yet this shield does not stand still. As the sun drifts through the Milky Way, the heliosphere sails with it, a luminous cocoon carrying our entire solar family through the silent, drifting fog between the stars. And within this grand voyage, Even the smallest world has a story to tell. For centuries, astronomers stared at Mercury, noticing something off. Its orbit did not quite match what Newton's laws predicted. The planet's path wobbled, subtle but real, a mystery that defied explanation. It wasn't until Einstein unveiled his theory of general relativity that Mercury's dance finally made sense. Its motion proved that space itself can curve, and that even a small planet, so close to the furnace of the sun, could help reveal the deeper geometry of the universe. Mercury, the innermost planet, swift and scorched, once puzzled even the greatest minds. Each time it swept around the sun, its closest point, the perihelion, shifted ever so slightly. More than Newton's elegant equations could explain. For decades, the mystery lingered, like a tiny riddle written into the clockwork of the cosmos. Until 1915, when Albert Einstein unveiled his theory of general relativity. He proposed that mass bends space and time, that the sun, immense and radiant, warps the very fabric around it. And within that invisible curve, Mercury's path makes perfect sense. When scientists compared his predictions to the planet's orbit, they matched perfectly. A subtle shift in a distant orbit became one of the first proofs of a new understanding of the universe. A triumph born not from fire or force, but from thought, from the quiet power of mathematics. And back here, on our blue world, another dance unfolds, a gentler one, yet felt by every shore. The moon, our silent companion, pulls at the oceans with its gravity, drawing the waters toward it. And on the far side, away from it, raising two great bulges of the sea. As Earth spins beneath these swells, we feel them as tides, the endless rhythm of rise and fall day after day, a heartbeat set by the pull of the sky. Every wave that curls along a midnight shore, every whisper of water retreating into sand, is a quiet reminder that even across the void, the moon still holds us close. Even the sun, from 93 million miles away, joins this celestial rhythm. Its gravity tugs at our oceans too, sometimes working with the moon, sometimes against it. When the two align, their forces combine, pulling the seas higher than ever before. These are the spring tides, bold and sweeping, but when they stand at right angles, their pulls compete and the waters grow gentle, the neap tides, soft and restrained. Yet tides are more than waves. They touch the crust of the earth, shift the rotation of our planet by the smallest fraction of a second, a quiet, steady heartbeat that the moon has kept for billions of years. But beyond all that we know, at the edge of the solar system, something stirs in the dark. Far past Neptune's icy frontier, astronomers have found a strange pattern, tiny frozen worlds, their orbits clustered and stretched, as if pulled by an unseen hand. Some believe a hidden giant lurks there, a planet yet to be found. They call it Planet 9, a ghost world, perhaps 5 or 10 times the mass of Earth, drifting through the cold outer dark, taking thousands of years to complete a single orbit. If it exists, it waits in silence, a faint echo of the chaos that birthed our solar system. And while our telescopes search the night, the mystery endures, a reminder that even now, our map of home is not yet complete. Out there, on the edge of Jupiter's domain, Callisto drifts in ancient silence. At first glance, it seems frozen and forgotten, its surface a battlefield of craters, each one a memory from billions of years past. But beneath that icy crust, scientists suspect something stirs, a hidden ocean, sealed away in the dark. Magnetic whispers from the Galileo spacecraft hinted at a conductive layer deep below, a sea rich with salts and secrets. If it's true, Callisto would stand beside Europa and Ganymede, another silent ocean world in the shadow of Jupiter. No sunlight touches it, no waves ever break. Yet there, under kilometers of ice, might lie the chemistry of life itself, preserved for eons beneath pressure and time. And then there is Venus, brilliant, shrouded, deceiving. Though she drifts farther from the sun than Mercury, her surface burns hotter than any planet. Why? Because her thick golden clouds trap the heat beneath, a runaway greenhouse world where carbon dioxide rains and sulfuric acid rains from the sky. Temperatures soar high enough to melt lead. Rocks glow faintly red in the suffocating dusk. Venus shines beautifully from afar, a beacon in our night skies. But up close, she is a furnace. A mirror of what happens when a world's breath thickens, and the air itself becomes a prison. Even in the stillness of space, some worlds burn, and others dream beneath ice. The universe keeps both close, fire and frost, in perfect, perilous balance. Venus. A world of fire, not because it lies nearest to the sun, but because it is wrapped in its own prison of heat. Its atmosphere, a suffocating sea of carbon dioxide, thicker than any found elsewhere, traps sunlight in a runaway greenhouse. Beneath those golden clouds, the surface bakes at more than 460 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead, to turn rock faintly molten under a sky of sulfuric acid. Sunlight struggles to break through, but once it does, it cannot escape. Venus shines like a pearl from afar, but up close it is hell-veiled in beauty. Mercury, by contrast, lies closer to the sun, yet knows nothing of such heat. With almost no atmosphere, its days blaze and its nights freeze. The difference is not distance, it's air. It's the invisible hand of radiation trapped by a planet's own breath. And far beyond, Saturn reigns, Lord of rings and frozen grace. What seems like solid silver bands are in truth billions of icy fragments, each one dancing alone, each reflecting sunlight with crystalline fire. They range from dust grains to house-sized shards, orbiting together in a vast, thin disk. A shimmering lace held in place by gravity and the whispers of Saturn's shepherd moons. Within the rings, waves ripple, gaps appear and vanish. Patterns shaped by resonance, rhythm, and time. They are not eternal. The rings are slowly fading, their ice raining down upon the planet they adorn. But for now, they remain, the most beautiful illusion in the solar system. Fragile, bright, and endlessly in motion, the rings of Saturn are not still. They shimmer, shift, and breathe, a ballet of sculpted ice in perpetual motion. Every orbit, every whisper of gravity reshapes their form. Moons pull and release, waves ripple through their frozen ribbons, and sunlight paints them in fleeting shades of silver and shadow. They are a living geometry, forever changing, forever beautiful. Far inward, between Mars and Jupiter, floats another mystery. Ceres, neither planet nor mere rock. Discovered in 1801, it is the largest body in the asteroid belt. So vast it rounds itself into a sphere, and earns the title of dwarf planet. The Dawn spacecraft once looked upon it, and saw strange glowing spots, bright as eyes staring from the dark. They were salt plains, born from briny water seeping upward and vanishing into vacuum, leaving crystals behind like the ghosts of vanished seas. Ceres is a hybrid world, part asteroid, part embryo of a planet, a remnant of creation's early experiments. And then there is Mars, the Red Wanderer. Its color comes not from fire but from rust. Iron dust coats its plains, oxidized by thin air and ancient time, turning the world into a desert of ochre and flame. When storms rise, they lift that dust skyward, painting the horizon red and blotting out the sun for weeks. Every grain carries the memory of rivers long gone, of oceans that once dreamed upon its surface. Mars is not just red, it is the color of age, memory, and longing. Despite its rusty hue, Mars is not a world of one color. Across its face stretch dark basaltic plains, the frozen remains of ancient lava, and at its poles caps of gleaming ice catch the thin sunlight like pale crowns. Together they form a subtle mosaic, tones of crimson, gray, and white woven across a cold, silent desert. But from afar, the red remains dominant, a soft, iron breath that whispers of oxidation, of age, of stillness beneath a thin, lonely sky. Even the sun, the great heart of our system, carries shadows upon its blazing skin. They are called sunspots, cooler patches born from tangled magnetic fields that twist and choke the flow of heat. To our eyes they appear dark, but each still burns at thousands of degrees, each large enough to swallow entire worlds. These spots come and go with rhythm, an 11-year pulse in the sun's magnetic heart. When the cycle peaks, the surface dances with flares, storms, and violent arcs of plasma leaping into space. They are scars of magnetism, marks of the star's restless soul, reminding us that even the sun, source of all light, has moments of turbulence and shadow. And in the age of telescopes, one pale green wanderer revealed itself, a world beyond Saturn, glimpsed for the first time by human eyes. It was Uranus, the first planet ever discovered through a telescope, a faint and distant sphere that expanded the borders of our known cosmos. Unlike the wandering lights known since ancient times, Uranus was a secret kept by the stars, unseen, unnamed until the year 1781, when William Herschel, peering through his handmade telescope, caught sight of a pale green point of light drifting across the heavens. At first, he thought it might be a comet, a wanderer passing briefly through the dark. But as the nights passed and the motion persisted, the truth unfolded. It was a new planet, one that had waited in the cold and silence for human eyes to evolve sharp enough to find it. Uranus became the first world discovered in modern history, a revelation that stretched the edge of the known solar system and ushered astronomy into a new era, an age of instruments, precision and discovery. Since that moment, Uranus has continued to surprise, its axis tipped almost onto its side, its rings faint and ghostly, and its moons orbiting in quiet, icy procession. It is a planet of mystery and geometry, a world that rewrote the map of the night sky and reminded us that the universe is not yet done revealing itself. The story of our solar system began long before that, 4.6 billion years ago. In a vast cloud of gas and dust swirling through space, gravity drew that nebula inward, pulling matter tighter and tighter until a fire ignited at the heart, the birth of our sun. From what remained, the ashes of creation, the planets, moons, asteroids, and comets slowly took shape, each a remnant of that original dance, each carrying within it a trace of the chaos that made everything we see today. The birth of our solar system was not a calm beginning. It began in a swirl of gas and dust, where gravity gathered chaos into order. In that ancient darkness, tiny grains collided, fused, and slowly grew into worlds. That long, patient dance, accretion and separation, laid the foundation for everything that followed. The planets we know today, they are the survivors. Each one carries the memory of fire and impact, of migration through young cosmic storms. They cooled, hardened, and drifted into the quiet rhythm we see now. Among the broken pieces left behind, one stands out, Vesta. Not a full planet, not merely an asteroid, but something in between. A world that almost was. Beneath its rough, cratered skin, Vesta hides a secret, layers like Earth's own, a metallic heart, a rocky mantle, a crust born of molten beginnings. It once burned with heat enough to shape itself like a true world, but time and fate intervened. A colossal impact tore its southern face open, revealing the scars of its unfinished story. Now Vesta drifts, a frozen memory of creation, a small world that never became whole. And then, there is the moon, silent, familiar, watching, but even in silence it trembles. The moon quakes, not with the violence of Earth's storms, but with slow, patient shivers. Tides from Earth's pull strain its heart. The chill of night and warmth of day make its surface expand and contract, and sometimes, a passing meteor strikes and makes it sing. So though it hangs still and pale in the sky, the moon is not truly still. It breathes, it listens, it remembers. Some quakes on the moon begin deep beneath its silent crust. They can last nearly an hour, a slow, lingering tremor in a place we thought was still. When Apollo astronauts first left their instruments there, they discovered these faint heartbeats, gentle echoes rippling through a world without tectonic plates. Even now, modern sensors listen, catching the quiet rhythm of a body that still moves within. The moon, it seems, is not dead, only sleeping, a solid world with a quiet, pulsing heart. Farther out, in the cold blue realm of Neptune, there is a stranger moon, Triton, a captive world. Unlike any other major moon, it circles Neptune backward, defying the planet's spin, a clue that it was never born there. Long ago, Triton may have wandered through the Kuiper Belt until Neptune's gravity seized it, pulling it into orbit and tearing apart the moons that came before. That violent capture left its mark. Triton's frozen plains still shift and breathe. Geysers of nitrogen burst into the sky, painting its thin atmosphere with mist. The surface is carved with strange dimpled patterns, like the skin of a cantaloupe, alien, ancient, alive in its own quiet way. Triton is both relic and survivor, a stolen moon, a wanderer caught in orbit, still whispering the story of how even in the farthest reaches of the sun's light, change never truly ends. Neptune, the farthest great world from the sun, is a realm wrapped in deep blue silence. Around it drifts a scattered family of moons, at least 14. each one an echo of ancient chaos. The mighty Triton dominates them all, a captured wanderer whose icy heart still stirs. But others, Proteus, Naiad, Larissa, dance on strange and tilted paths, their orbits looping and leaning like ghosts of forgotten collisions. Some were born of Neptune's own storms, others stolen from the cold Kuiper belt beyond. Most are dark as soot, their icy crusts swallowing sunlight, reflecting only the faintest glimmer back into the void. Together, they circle a planet that drifts at the very frontier of the sun's reach, a kingdom of shadows, where gravity still whispers, but warmth is only memory. And yet, while Neptune sleeps on the edge of darkness, human hands have reached the fire at the center. In 2018, NASA's Parker Solar Probe was launched to do what once seemed impossible, to touch the sun. It dives straight into the blazing corona, the sun's outer atmosphere, where temperatures soar above 1,000 degrees Celsius and particles race faster than any craft ever built by humankind. There, amid the solar wind and magnetic storms, Parker flies through living fire, a fragile messenger threading between heat and light, bringing home whispers from the heart of the star that made us all. Somewhere, closer to the blazing heart of our star, a small probe drifts, wrapped in a shield of carbon and light. With every orbit, it dares a little more, diving deeper into the sun's breath. The solar wind whispers past it, streams of charged fire brushing its skin. It measures the invisible, the fields of magnetism, the dance of particles, the pulse of a living star. Its mission is to answer the questions humanity has asked for centuries. Why is the corona, that glowing halo, hotter than the surface itself? How do solar flares fling their energy across the void? In truth, this probe isn't just studying the sun, it's flying through it, touching the fire, and surviving. And far away on our quiet blue Earth, some stones tell another story, one that began millions of kilometers away. Scattered across deserts and ice fields are fragments of a distant world. Meteorites from Mars. Long ago, something struck the red planet with unimaginable force, hurling pieces of its crust into the cold dark of space. They drifted for ages, silent, patient travelers, until gravity found them and drew them home, to us. Scientists hold them now, turning them over gently, seeing traces of ancient air trapped inside tiny bubbles, air from another planet. Some stones even hold minerals shaped by water, as if Mars once breathed a softer, wetter age. These are messages from a world we've never stood upon, but one that somehow has already touched the Earth. The probe still flies through fire, the stones still whisper from the stars, and above it all the night sky hums, softly, endlessly, as you close your eyes and drift among them far from us. Through the silent stretches of space, drift stones from another world, these wayward travelers, carried by nature itself, long before any human spacecraft ever reached out. Fragments of Mars, or perhaps even older worlds landing softly on our planet, bringing whispers of distant skies. And then, there is the sun, a brilliant glowing sphere made mostly of hydrogen, and helium 70% hydrogen, most of the rest helium, the simplest elements, yet powerful enough to fuel the fire at the sun's core. Deep within, under unimaginable heat and pressure, hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, releasing light and warmth that travels across millions of kilometers to touch our world. The rest, 1 or 2% of the sun, is made of oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, and heavier elements born in the hearts of stars long ago, simple yet brilliant. A sphere of primordial gases shaped by gravity and nuclear fire, lighting our days and warming our nights, and Earth itself moves with a gentle tilt. Its axis leans about 23.5 degrees relative to its path around the sun. This tilt is what gives us seasons. When one hemisphere tilts toward the sun, it bathes in warmer light, days stretch longer, and summer blooms. When it tilts away, sunlight softens, days grow short, and winter quietly descends. Without this subtle lean, the planet would be far more uniform, its climates dull and steady, without the rhythms that mark our years. So tonight, as you breathe, imagine it all: wayward stones from Mars, the sun burning steadily, Earth tilting, bringing warmth and chill, and the quiet turn of the seasons that cradles life beneath the endless sky. Earth's tilt, though subtle, has shifted slightly over time. The moon, and the distant pull of other planets, gently tug at our world, nudging it ever so slightly. Yet through it all, this lean remains one of the quiet architects of life's rhythms. The turning of seasons, summer's warmth, winter's hush. The endless ebb and flow that cradles life. And far beyond, a giant waits Jupiter, its magnetic field, the largest structure in our solar system. It stretches for millions of kilometers into space, so immense that if it were visible, it would outshine the sun in our night sky. This invisible giant is born deep inside, from electric currents flowing through metallic hydrogen. Inside this vast magnetosphere, charged particles race along unseen lines, forming belts of intense radiation, massive auroras, and fierce electrical storms. It captures material from Io's volcanic eruptions and shapes the paths of nearby moons. For spacecraft, this invisible shield is dangerous. For scientists, it is a cosmic laboratory showing planetary magnetism at its most extreme. So tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine Earth tilting gently, the seasons turning softly and far beyond, Jupiter's magnetic fingers stretching across the dark, wrapping its moons in invisible currents. The universe moves quietly, and you drift with it. Even the most beautiful rings, those shimmering bands around Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune, are not eternal. Though they look timeless from afar, they are fleeting. Temporary dances of ice and dust. Rings form from shattered moons, leftover debris, or tiny icy particles pulled into orbit. But over millions of years, gravity and collisions, magnetic drag, and slow spirals pull them inward, falling eventually onto the planet itself. Cassini told us Saturn's rings might be less than 100 million years old and could vanish within another 100 million. What we see now is a brief, sparkling moment in the life of a giant planet, and the moon. So familiar, yet so still. Without wind, without rain, without active geology, its surface barely changes over time. Footprints left by astronauts may linger, preserved for thousands of generations. The quiet work of micrometeorites and the constant kiss of cosmic radiation slowly wears down the lunar landscape. A gentle, patient erosion, known as space weathering. Craters from ancient impacts still dominate its terrain, silent witnesses to collisions that go back to the earliest days of our solar system. Tonight, as you breathe slowly, imagine it all: the fleeting shimmer of planetary rings, the quiet, enduring surface of the moon, the slow turning of the solar system. Everything moves, everything drifts, and you can float softly with it. The moon, Earth's closest companion, is more than a bright circle in the night sky. It is one of our planet's oldest friends, a faithful keeper of geological memory. And beyond, farther from the sun, hidden beneath thick icy shells, lie moons like Europa and Enceladus. Beneath their frozen crusts, oceans may flow, touching hot rocky cores. Here, hydrothermal vents could exist, just like those on Earth's ocean floors. On our planet, these vents are alive, supporting entire ecosystems without a single ray of sunlight. Life there feeds on minerals, heated water, and chemical energy. If similar vents exist on Europa or Enceladus, they could provide water, heat, and energy, the essential ingredients for life. Even the plumes from Enceladus contain compounds that hint at biological processes. These hidden underwater worlds, silent, cold, and dark, might be the most promising places to search for life beyond our own Earth. And the light you feel on your skin tonight, the sunlight that warms your room and brightens your eyes, began its journey more than 8 minutes ago. Deep in the sun's core, where hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, and photons are born, starting their slow, patient journey across millions of kilometers to reach us here. So as you close your eyes, imagine it all: oceans under ice, plumes reaching out into space, and the gentle touch of sunlight that has traveled vast distances just to reach you tonight. Before sunlight reaches your eyes, it begins a long journey deep within the sun. Photons, born in the core, take hundreds of thousands of years to travel through the dense, roiling plasma before finally escaping the surface. And then, they race across space, covering 150 million kilometers in just over 8 minutes to reach us here on Earth. So when you watch a sunrise, or feel the warmth of the midday sun, you are not seeing the sun as it is now, but as it was 8 minutes ago. A glimpse of the very recent past delivered across the vastness of space. Far beyond, around Jupiter, Europa waits beneath its icy shell. The surface is cracked, crisscrossed with dark lines, ridges, and chaotic terrain. It hints at movement, ice breaking, sliding, shifting, perhaps even subducting like tectonic plates on Earth. If true, Europa is unique, the only known world besides our own with plate-like motion. This subtle dance, driven by Jupiter's tidal pull, could help circulate nutrients between the surface and the hidden ocean below, making this frozen moon a surprisingly dynamic place and perhaps a place where life could find a foothold. And then there is Saturn, the giant with a light heart. Its density is less than water. If you could place it in a cosmic bathtub, it would float, not hollow, just made of gas and ice in just the right proportions to make a world buoyant, a planet that drifts, soft and ethereal, in the endless dark. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine it all. Photons traveling across the solar system, Europa's ice slowly shifting, Saturn floating gently in space. The universe moves quietly and you drift with it far beyond our skies. Saturn drifts, enormous yet light. Made mostly of hydrogen and helium, it is a giant in size yet surprisingly gentle in density. Its volume is more than 700 times that of Earth, but its mass, only about 95 times greater. The planet spins rapidly, flattening at the poles, bulging at the equator, softly puffed into shape by gravity and motion. A giant of gas, both immense and delicate, floating in the quiet dark. Closer to the sun, the star we depend on is not always steady. Solar flares erupt suddenly, powerful bursts of energy linked to dark sunspots on its surface. Radiation of all kinds, X-rays, ultraviolet light, surges outward, racing across space. When these flares reach Earth, they can stir the upper atmosphere, disturbing GPS, radio signals, and satellites. In extreme moments, they can spark geomagnetic storms, even threatening power grids. Yet our planet has a shield. Earth's magnetic field protects us. Still, solar flares remind us that the sun is not a quiet lamp, but a living, breathing star, sometimes sending ripples of energy pulsing across the solar system. Its rhythm, its cycle, gives rise to the shimmering auroras we see dancing near the poles, a cosmic light show born from invisible forces. Tonight, as you lie still, imagine Saturn spinning softly, the sun occasionally sending pulses of light, and the auroras flickering quietly above your head. The universe moves, and you drift along with it far above Earth's poles. The night sky sometimes comes alive with auroras, shimmering curtains of green, red and violet light dance across the heavens, born from charged particles sent by the sun, interacting with Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere. These lights grow brighter during periods of intense solar activity, an 11-year cycle of energy and motion. When the sun is active, sunspots and flares send more particles our way, painting the skies in brilliant ribbons. When the sun is quiet, the auroras fade, soft, gentle, almost whispering. And then there are comets, travelers from the edges of the solar system. As they approach the sun, ice begins to vaporize, forming glowing tails of dust and gas. Yet the tail never trails behind like smoke. It always points away from the sun. Solar wind and radiation pressure push the material outward, creating two tails, a curved dust tail and a straight, bluish ion tail. Each comet leaves a luminous signature, windswept and delicate, tracing the invisible hand of sunlight through the darkness of space. Even moons have stories to tell. Earth's moon, for instance, was born from catastrophe, a colossal impact between early Earth and a Mars-sized body over 4 billion years ago. The collision flung molten rock into orbit, which gradually coalesced into the moon we see today. Other moons, like Pluto's Charon, may have similar violent beginnings, contrasting with the captured moons of the outer planets. No single story explains them all, but each one whispers of cosmic chaos, of collisions and creation, of worlds slowly finding their shapes in the dark. Tonight, as you breathe slowly, imagine auroras dancing softly above, a comet's tail stretching into the void, and moons quietly tracing the history of a turbulent, beautiful cosmos. Some moons were born in fire and collision, others were gently captured by gravity. Each has its own story, mirroring the chaos and the creativity of the solar system's formative years. And far beyond, a lone traveler drifts into the darkness of interstellar space. Voyager 1, launched in 1977, now journeys farther from Earth than any human-made object in history. Attached to its side, A golden record, a message in a bottle cast into the galaxy. On this tiny disk, sounds and images of life on Earth are preserved. Greetings in dozens of languages, music from across the world, the soft crash of ocean waves, birds singing, laughter echoing, designed by a team led by Carl Sagan. It is meant for any intelligent beings who might someday find it, a quiet greeting from our pale blue dot. Even our own planet shares its orbit with quiet companions. Co-orbital asteroids drift near Earth, not moons but small bodies following looping paths shaped by gravity. Some, called Trojans, hover near stable points ahead of or behind Earth's path. Others trace horseshoe-shaped loops, staying near but never colliding. These cosmic neighbors are often temporary, captured for a time, then released, drifting silently through the solar system. Quiet companions to our journey around the sun. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine moons formed from fire and ice, a golden record floating into the endless dark, and small asteroids quietly tracing Earth's path. Invisible to the naked eye, some small travelers drift near us in space, quiet companions on our yearly journey around the sun. Farther still, Neptune hides in the darkness. Before its official discovery in 1846, astronomers sometimes glimpsed it, without realizing what they were seeing. Its slow motion, its faint light, made it easy to mistake for a fixed star, or even another sighting of Uranus. Perhaps even Galileo, peering through his telescope in 1612, caught a glimpse of Neptune and simply marked it as a star. It wasn't until mathematicians noticed irregularities in Uranus's orbit that Neptune's presence was predicted, and finally confirmed. In a sky full of wandering points of light, Neptune remained hidden. Quiet, distant, patiently circling the sun for centuries. And then there is the edge of the solar system. Gravity from the sun stretches far beyond Pluto, holding onto comets and icy bodies in the distant Oort cloud. But when scientists speak of the edge, they often mean the heliosphere, the vast bubble, where the solar wind meets the interstellar medium. This invisible boundary marks the point where the sun's magnetic influence and the flow of its particles finally end, and the dark, cold void of interstellar space begins. Gravity stretches far beyond the planets, but the sun's energetic boundary marks where the space between stars begins. It is a subtle, shifting frontier, more a change in pressure than a sudden wall. Even planetary atmospheres are not permanent. Over time, light gases, hydrogen, helium, can slowly escape a planet's gravity and drift quietly into space. This atmospheric escape is more pronounced on smaller worlds, like Mars and Mercury. On Venus, the lack of a magnetic shield has allowed the solar wind to erode parts of its upper atmosphere. Earth too loses hydrogen, thousands of tons each year, though life and water replenish it. A quiet leak into the void, a constant exchange between planets and the empty darkness beyond. Moons too have stories written in rings. Ring systems are not forever. They can decay, vanish, or sometimes give birth to moons. Around Saturn, some small outer moons may have formed from clumps of ring material beyond the planet's Roche limit, where gravity pulls matter together rather than tearing it apart. Moons like Pan and Daphnis still orbit within Saturn's rings, gathering tiny bits of material even today, slowly growing, carrying the legacy of their parent rings, even the smallest moons. These moonlets quietly shape Saturn's rings. Their gravity carves gaps, stirs waves, and sculpts the icy bands around them. Farther out in the darkness between stars, Voyager 1 drifts still, more than 45 years after launch. It continues to send faint whispers back to Earth, even as it travels billions of kilometers through interstellar space. Its instruments measure cosmic rays, magnetic fields, and the sparse plasma between the stars. Power is limited, and some systems have been turned off to conserve energy, yet it keeps working, a tiny spacecraft carrying human curiosity into the void. Every signal takes more than 20 hours to reach us, a delicate whisper from the edge of our exploration. And while we watch the planets orbit the sun, our sun itself drifts through the Milky Way. It takes roughly 225 to 250 million years to complete a single journey around the galaxy, a passage sometimes called a cosmic year during that time. The solar system drifts slowly through different regions of interstellar space. It may pass through spiral arms, star-forming regions, or clouds of gas and dust. This motion, subtle, endless, can stir comet activity, and over vast stretches of time even influence Earth's climate. We are not fixed in space, but part of a vast, slow spiral, riding the galaxy's arm like a cosmic carousel. And now our quiet journey through the solar system comes to a gentle close. From inner worlds scorched by sunlight to icy moons that whisper in the dark, we have wandered together through orbits, storms, and shadows, one sleepy fact at a time. If your eyes are already heavy, that is perfectly fine. Let the last traces of starlight fade behind your thoughts, and let your breath carry you softly into rest. There is still so much more to discover, but for now you have learned enough. You have traveled far, and the universe can wait until morning. Thank you for spending this time with me. And so, under the quiet stars, the story continues. Sleep well and dream softly.